We're joined by Elaine Hall, and I don't know if she's there now, and if we can just have her come into the room. I think that that is a distinct possibility. If not, Traven, let me know. And it's still saying that my internet is unstable, even though I have it hardwired now. What is up with the internet? Okay, she has not joined yet. But I want to let you guys know, we said we would be here as long as the internet is here, and I apologize that the internet is struggling. Oh, it looks like maybe she is here now. So do we have, well, I'm just going to say nice things about Elaine until we have her come into the room. I got to meet Elaine Hall probably 10, 11 years ago. And I thought that she was amazing and a very talented individual. And then I came to see one of the shows that they did at the Miracle Project. And you know how Katy Perry says, wig blown? Yeah, that's where I was at. And I realized that there were a lot of things that I didn't know. And believe me, you know, my background is theater. That's what my master's degree is in. And I was humbled by what I saw that Elaine was able to do with her program, which is inclusive. There are folks that perform on stage that don't have an autism diagnosis. There are people on stage. There's Elaine. I was just saying nice things about you, Elaine, and how inclusive I was, and how Traven's asking me a question.
Is the sound okay, you guys?
The sound is okay. My internet is struggling like I don't know what. I don't even have a metaphor because I'm so mad at the internet today. Traven is asking me a question, and I don't know what. Do I have to turn? Do I have to turn off the Wi-Fi in order for the Ethernet to work?
You know what?
I don't know.
All my other programs, that might be helpful, huh?
Yeah, I think you're fine. I just don't know what you're asking me, Traven, and so I can't help you with what you're asking me. He's trying to help me to get my internet improved, and I don't know. But anyway, Elaine's here, and that's what's really important. And are you joining us from home? Is that where you are?
Oh, yes, of course.
Well, I didn't want to assume, but I said I thought that you were going to be joining us from home. So Elaine, today's a very big day, and a day that I've been waiting for 10 years. Ever since I've known you, I was like, when is the sequel going to happen? So talk to people about what's happening today and why it's a big day. Start at the beginning.
Well, the beginning, or why today? What's happening today? Today, there's so much happening.
Yes.
So the sequel to Autism, the Musical, which was an HBO Emmy-winning documentary that followed my program, The Miracle Project, and 5 students who were enrolled in the program. That was the first film, called Autism, the Musical. That aired in 2008 on HBO, garnering 2 Emmys, and our lives were profoundly changed as a result. And I think, Shannon, that's where you and I first met.
Yes.
Then today, the sequel to Autism the Musical, called, drumroll please, Autism the Sequel, airs tonight on HBO. I'm so emotional today. I woke up at 5 a.m. because I was so excited. And then I, did my morning routine and meditating and stretching and hanging. And next thing you know, I'm on my email. And the sequel has been not only reviewed, but recommended by every major newspaper in the country, including the Boston Globe, the Washington Post. It's the recommended viewing. I think in this Corona-19 time, we need films that bring us hope. And that's what the film does. I think, do you have the trailer? We
have the trailer for both the original and for the sequel. Should we show the original first?
Let's show the original first.
Okay, so Traven, let's go for it. Let's hope the internet is strong enough for this. He's troubleshooting 85 things for me, Elaine, and we apologize, you guys, that there is lag. We're working on it. But Traven, go ahead and show the sequel, show the original.
And now we know it's 1:54.
And the internet is struggling to let us see this, so. And do we have sound, Traven? I'm not hearing the sound either. Well, I guess he's going to go back and try. We apologize, you guys. It is like technical, you know what, right now. Here we go. Traven's got it now.
Sometimes I don't like it when kids go into their own world. You know, I do that a lot. How are you going to make friends in your own world?
I've tortured myself thinking that in order to fully love her, I needed to be able to understand her head.
No matter how much you love them and no matter how many dollars you throw at them, this kid's got autism.
I know they're skeptical.
Oh,
Ask them to put their faith in me.
Here we go.
The first couple of weeks are going to be chaotic. That I can promise.
Okay, so our internet was terrible and it was skippy, but it doesn't matter. You're still inspired. And if you haven't watched the original, you really have to. And it's been available this month on HBO. You can still watch the original, lose your mind, get some hankies, cry it out, and be inspired until you feel like your heart is going to jump out of your chest. Right? Because that's what it is. That's what the Miracle Project does. But now we get to fast forward. So how many years ago was that, Elaine?
So we were followed in the year 2006.
Wow.
And then it screened at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2007.
Okay. And so
From
now
was picked up on HBO and aired on HBO in 2008. And then 2009, it screened at the United Nations.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So now it's 2020. And
Where did
I
the time
know,
go? Shannon,
I know. Well, this is what I said. I mean, you know, in 2006, when they were following you, that was the year in which my son was diagnosed, was 2006.
Wow.
Right. And I was just saying at the start of the show that my kid is about to be 17 years old. And I'm like, how did that happen? How did that even happen? So now, but now it's 2020. And I have seen from the posters of Autism, the sequel, that it looks like there are 4 kids in particular that they're focusing on. Is this accurate?
So there's the same 5. So it's Neil, Henry, Adam, Wyatt, and Lexi.
So we get to see them all these years later.
Every single, all the 5 that were focused on originally, you get to see them later. Get to see them.
Okay, so Traven, have you got that trailer ready for us to see? Grab the hankies, you guys. I don't know if I can take it. So let's go ahead and show the trailer. And thanks to HBO for allowing us to play the trailers. We really appreciate them, and shout out to them. And thank you, Elaine, for working that out for us. So go ahead and show the trailer and we'll take a look. This is Autism, the sequel.
Welcome, everybody, to the Miracle Project. Autistic kids by nature are isolated. Sounds can be too loud, so how can you have a group of kids singing? I want to have an all-out musical.
12 years later, and in some ways, we're exactly where we were.
There's a difference between him and other people.
1 minute something's challenging you, and then you figure it out, and the next thing you know, you gotta find your way around another challenge.
And yet we're light years ahead of where we were.
He's so ready to be part of this world.
As long as he's willing to fight the fight, I will back him up.
I don't want to let something that a doctor has put on a piece of paper stop me.
I mean, there might be a little sadness, but we can live through it.
We're left to forge a new path with our kids. That's where we're at now.
Oh, Elaine, you must be plotting.
I woke up
Yeah.
this morning and I got some different publicity announcements from HBO, and like Neil's on the front cover of something, and then I see Lexi and Henry and Adam and Wyatt. I've been crying all morning. I was actually late getting ready for this interview because I was reading these reviews and seeing the pictures, and I was crying, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to put on makeup, you know? So.
Yeah. No, I'm already crying, and I can't wait to see it tonight, and it premieres tonight.
It premieres tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
And that would be 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and whatever is in the middle and anywhere else that has HBO. So tonight is the opening night. We're so excited. We're just so excited.
And now, is there something else going on that's tonight? Because you had sent me something and I didn't quite understand it. Is there something else that's happening tonight? Yes.
So, okay, so let me go back a little bit. Trisha Regan, who directed the original Autism, the musical, she and Sasha Alpert from Buna Murray have been wanting to do a follow-up for many, many years. So when I got the call from Trisha that it's a go, we're going to do this, we were ecstatic, and at the same time, like, we're going to be putting our children out there again. So I asked Neil, what do you think? You know, do you want to do this? And first he says, Neil's a multimodal.
And for people who don't know, Neil is your son.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Neil is my son. He's a non-speaking young adult on the spectrum. And
an amazing individual.
Thank you.
A true light.
He's a true light. He's a true light. And he's overcome so many obstacles in his life. Being non-speaking and yet a brilliant communicator. He's learned over the years he has an iPhone that has apps that he communicates with. He has some sign language, and he also is typing. And when I asked him whether or not he wants to do this film again, he typed, "We are emissaries."
Oh.
And as soon as Trisha came to the house, Trisha Regan, who we trust, she's the director, she's brilliant, her heart is so open and loving. As soon as she came to the house, Neil went and got a photo of him that was taken during the original Autism the musical.
Wow. So how old was he when the original was?
Neil was 11.
Okay. So how old is Neil now? I'm bad at math. How old is he?
No, that's okay. He was 11, actually going on 12. Neil will turn 26 next Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah. And what the film didn't capture, because they filmed it over a year ago, is that Neil now lives independently in his own apartment with support, and part-time there, part-time with us. He has, which you'll see in the film, his 2 jobs that he has. And he's also a presenter and a semi-professional model and an actor, and has been in several films. So he's, and all of these young people, they have truly forged their own path. And I think that's what makes this film so powerful, is how these 5 children have become strong, independent, self-reliant young adults, creating a world that not only can we parents be proud of, but we can take a little bit of a breath, at least for a second.
Yeah. Well, and what I also love, Elaine, is that you don't, in all the work that you do, so often the criticism is that we get to see the kids that are so high functioning that a bunch of idiot sticks will write in and say, are they really on the spectrum? I mean, and I don't know what to do with those people, because there is a spectrum, right? But so often what the public sees are people who are on the end of the spectrum where you know, sometimes people don't even realize that they're on the spectrum, and you don't do that. You have the full spectrum of people that are communicating in lots of different ways and are facing lots of individual challenges. I really love and respect that about you. But I remember the first time that I went to the Miracle Project, I had this feeling that I was only going to see that one type of kid. And man, did you set me straight. That, you know, that you have performers of all different abilities, and you have performers facing all different kinds of challenges on stage. And honestly, it's very inspirational. And that work is evident in these films as well, even though I haven't seen the new one. I can tell that that's there as well. So that I'm sure that can't be easy. That can't be the easy choice ever. Do you feel like that it's that way because you just made a decision that it was that way? Do you feel it was that way because you have a son that, you know, communicated in a way that was different? What do you think steered that choice? There's a lot of people who are too afraid, Elaine.
Yeah, thank you. Great questions. I have a passion for people on the spectrum, whether they're non-speaking or highly verbal. And even though the challenges are very different for the parents, for the child, for the young adult, there's a commonality in that each person, no matter what their ability, is doing the best they can with what they have. And we parents are doing the best we can with what we have. And so my joy is to really listen and uncover who that individual is, what their core is, what their authentic self is, that's not hampered by the disability. It's what's their soul. I think one of the greatest compliments I've ever received was from Rabbi Naomi Levy, who called me the soul whisperer. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I do. Because it's not even about, you know, performing. It's about hearing what their soul has to say, and then just helping guide them to be the best they can be and express who they are. I mean, I love hanging out with my autistic friends, as well as my staff from the Miracle Project. I mean, we have many of our teachers who choose only to work with those who are minimally fluent and unreliable speakers. And yet those who can sort of pass for normal may have some of the greatest challenges, because the world is not as compassionate and understanding to those who look normal but are quirky and different. So I enjoy and love working with those. I say working, it's really playing, being, sharing soul to soul with those young people and adults. I mean, I coach older adults who are just finding out that they're on the spectrum, that just always thought that they were weird. And everybody, you'll hear Henry so boldly and proudly speaking of his differentness, which is so cool because his self-esteem is intact with it. And I think that's what we do with our non-speakers or unreliable speakers. We help them find their voice. We help them express their voice. We help to value their experiences. And we do the same with those who are highly verbal, is we help them realize that, yeah, life can be really challenging when you when people don't understand you,
Yeah.
when you don't understand others. And so we really work with people, our young adults and older adults as well, and being willing to say, could you repeat that? I didn't understand that. And to understand their own sensory system so that they can help the world to understand those that are neurodiverse.
Yeah. I have to tell you that the thing that I quote you all the time, when people are, whenever somebody will say something like, I don't know, am I supposed to say high functioning, what is, and I quote you all the time, because you were on the show once and talking about how those are not terms that you find informative, because you said to me, for instance, people could say that, it depends on what the context is. Right. So if somebody could be very proficient in one area and struggle in another, and you said, there are people who look at your son and may have thoughts about something, but take him on the side of a mountain and open up a kit of things and say, we're going to climb to the top, and he's going to be the most high functioning guy on the side of that mountain. And I love that. And I think it's great context for everybody to think of those terms as being really not helpful. Because, what's the context? What is the context? And I love that when you work with individuals, you change the context and they become proficient in communicating in the way that they choose to, and an audience sits there and takes it in and applauds them. And recently, I think it was like a year ago, I came to one of your sensory friendly performances where it wasn't applause, but everybody did this. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, that was exciting too. And I've certainly been to many deaf theater performances where that was the case before, but I'd never been to a performance before, Elaine, where it was a hearing audience watching mostly, I think, hearing performers, and probably a lot of them were on the spectrum, and to see the way both the audience and the actors reacted to it, and as the performance went on, how it grew, I get goosebumps now thinking about it. It was a really I didn't expect it to be so different, but it was, because what it did to the performers, I don't know how I could have left that out of the equation in my mind, but what it did to the performers was really, really beautiful thing. But you're always doing beautiful things. It's one of the reasons why your programs are so popular and successful. And we should take a second for people to know about, because right now you're doing things online, correct?
Yes. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you, Shannon, for just so getting it on such a cellular level. Oh. You understand our work, and the way it impacts you just thrills me. A couple of things that you were saying about high functioning and low functioning. I actually gave that speech at the United Nations to request that the world stop using those terms. And then, as you mentioned, what I like to say is that we are all high functioning in some areas and low functioning in other areas. When it comes to technology, and I am incredibly low functioning. I need someone else to help me figure that out. And it's like, I'll never be great at it. I'm good enough to be able to get on Zoom today.
You're here. That makes you a rock star, woman.
There you go. But I'm high functioning with my creativity and my self-expression and my intuition. And I could sit at a table with the dean of philosophy at Brown University and hold my own. But to technology, I would probably be in maybe 4th or 5th grade. Probably they are much better at technology, 4th and 5th grader students. So what I like to think of is we always want our kids to be independent. And I want to reframe that is that none of us are independent. We're all interdependent. We need.
Wait, if we didn't know that before, we learned that in this emergency.
There you go. And so part of that is really honing our skill level of accepting help, of receiving help. And then it goes to our friends on the spectrum in that they're not supposed to be independent. They're supposed to allow to be interdependent. And those strengths and challenges can help each other. So that, I just wanted to comment on that. The other piece with that is yes, we also provide social skills training and life skills training and life coaching, where we use the same methodology that we've developed for the Miracle Project within the context of our
Which
class,
is evidence-based.
which is evidence-based.
Scientifically evidence-based, y'all.
And supported by some of the experts in autism, as Dr. Barry Prezant, Dr. Stephen Shore. I know Dr. Grempachet is very passionate
A big
about
supporter.
work.
Yes, absolutely.
I've been so passionate about her and her work and everything she's done for autism. But yes, we're evidence-based, and there's always a silver lining with the virus right now, and of all of us being home, is that all of our classes are online.
Yeah.
We have people coming in from all over the country. We started in a poetry class, and we've got people from New York and Minnesota coming in. We're starting a musical theater class completely on Zoom, dance classes on Zoom. We'll be doing private lessons. So we're able now to reach your audience in a way that we've never been able to do before. And we want to invite everybody. Tonight is our first ever Zoom showcase, where we're showcasing our students who started with us in September. Some of them beginners, never been in a class before like this, singing, dancing, acting. Some of our seasoned performers who are on the TV show Atypical are also in the showcase. And we're going to be celebrating, and you will get a free performance at 5 o'clock Pacific Coast time, 8 o'clock New East Coast time, right before the airing of Autism, the sequel. So
I was just going to say, you've got to keep it to an hour, because then people can go right from one to the other.
Exactly.
So where do people go? And I gotta later on, you have to tell me who's doing your Zoom for you, because that's a whole technology thing. Where do people have to go to get onto the Zoom?
Okay, so what they need to do, I'm going to give you our website, which is themiracleproject.org. Should I put that in the chat? Will everybody see the chat?
No, they can. Only you and I can see the chat.
Between us.
But what Traven does in our chat, so people know, is that he posts the things that you guys are saying.
Okay.
So
themiracleproject.org, and from there you will see a big flyer, big poster about our showcase, our virtual showcase. If you want to go directly to the person who is running our Zoom, you can go to her email is admin, AEMIN, admin at themiracleproject.org, and request the Zoom link.
And I think if I can find it, because you sent it to me this morning, but I don't know where I've got it. If I can find it, there's a meeting ID, and then you can just type the meeting ID. It's like a phone number, but it isn't a phone number. It's the meeting ID.
Yeah, but you have to register, because we're limited to how many people. So you have to register so email either admin at themiracleproject.org, or just go to the Miracle Project site. Admin at themiracleproject.org will get you in quicker. But going to the site, then you'll click, and then you'll click, but that's the way to get in. And we do know that if you can't get in, we will be showing it on Facebook Live later.
Okay, great.
Got that idea from you, Shannon Penrod.
Take it away. I mean, it's a great medium, and everybody's using it, so that's a great thing to do. But limited audience to see it live on the Zoom. So if you guys want to do that, you should do that soon. If not now, admin, say it again.
Admin, ADMIN, at themiracleproject.org.
Okay. And say, I want to attend the live Zoom tonight. So that's at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Do the math for the other zones that you're in. And then that will end, and then you'll be able to switch right over to HBO.
Yeah. Now, just so you guys know, the Zoom doesn't get you onto the HBO. They're two separate things. We had the date of April 28th for our for our showcase since last August, and we just found out that this was going to be the air date of the film as well, which is kind of magical in a way that they're both on the same day. And we didn't want to change one for the other. And so we thought, what a great kickoff to the screening of Autism, the sequel.
Absolutely. I just want to address some of the things that people are saying. So many people wrote in and said they're so excited to watch tonight, and now both things. And want to address that we asked the question today of to people, what do they like to do? And people wrote in and said they like to play board games, spending time with family and friends, spend time with my dogs, love to read, listen, music. I also like to spend time with my cat. Our topic this week is self-care, which I know is a big deal with you. Somebody said self-care. I did some exercises yesterday to curb my anxiety. Good job. They want to know, where can they watch the original? That's on HBO this month, right?
Yes, it's on HBO right now. You could watch it this morning if you want, and have it down before you watch the other. So it's on HBO right now.
So that would probably be HBO on demand, but also do a search so that you can see when it's actually airing.
If you go to the HBO site right now, and then type in Autism, the sequel, there's a page and it has information about how to do both films.
Okay, great. Somebody says that they didn't know that they were on the spectrum until later in life, but that they were on the spectrum their whole life, but now, and more people are finding that. One parent says, nicely said everything. Another says, I don't care for the functioning labels, and I don't like it when I hear Dr. Grannon still using those terms. Janice?
What I like to use, and I got this from my mentor, Dr. Barry Prezant, I like to use the words different supports in different environments. For example, the example you used with Neil, when he's in a school type classroom, he needs a tremendous amount of support. If he's taking a hike in the Santa Monica Mountains, he's the leader and everybody's following him.
There you go.
For me, I need a tremendous amount of support when it comes to technology. I need minimal to none when it comes to expressing my creative ideas.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I think you and I are cut from the same bolt of cloth, because technology, I need 12 hands. But I can be creative. And that's great, because a parent said, as a parent who has a 12-year-old boy on the spectrum, you don't use high functioning. Am I right? So what do you say?
Yeah, I like to say different, and this is what I got from Dr. Barry Prezant's work, different supports in different environments. And I use it, I say that a lot so that people start to get a new vernacular. You know, it takes time. It's sometimes like turning an ocean liner around, and it's a newer generation, a new movement that's expressing ourselves like this. So, you know, the older generation who paved the way for us to be like Temple and others, you know, I wouldn't, you know, that is the way that their lives had gone for them. But I also don't like the hierarchy of, you know, high functioning. That means low functioning. No, my son's one of the most highly intuitive humans on the planet, pretty high functioning in that level, you know? So
yeah, I got to be honest that I've never liked the terms, but I will tell you that sometimes I will use the term high functioning. If somebody has used it in conjunction with themselves, because I feel like that, you know, they could say whatever they want to say about themselves. Absolutely. But I also use it when I am sometimes at a doctor's office and I need to convey something about my son to them. So I switch to words that I know that they will have some inkling of understanding. And I'm not necessarily proud of that, but in instances where I don't have time to educate somebody, and like if when my son, I've been in an emergency room before with my son being sick, and they're like, what else do we need to know? And I've got a minimal amount of time, and I will say, on the autism spectrum, so I need you to do X, Y, and Z, but he is very high functioning, very intelligent, very vocal, very capable of communicating with you. And I use those terms because it's rapid fire, and I need for, it's like switching to sign language when somebody understands sign language and not sign language when they don't. I hope that someday I have to do that.
Well, I think that's it. And I think that's why shows like autism-live are so important, because you do have the time and the bandwidth to help educate and move things forward. And in emergency situations, I mean, I'll say my son is severely autistic, you know, in an emergency situation. And we know like function doesn't have anything to do with who a person is. it only describes what they do. You know, my
Absolutely.
husband, Jeff Freimer, is a therapist, and he works a lot with families and often older adults on the spectrum, and helps them, as I do in my private coaching, helps them to understand it's who they are. It's not what they do or can't do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A couple of more comments here. People saying, oh, Elaine Hall, hi.
Hi.
And hello from Latvia.
Wow.
Jana from Latvia wants to say hello to you. And they're also saying that they love Atypical. And some of the people that you have in the showcase tonight are some of the young people featured in Atypical. So what a wonderful thing. So the showcase tonight, you've got to register to be able to attend the Zoom. It's limited to a certain number of people. So make sure that you register early or make your peace with it. You're going to watch it later on Facebook Live. And they should go to your Facebook page to be keeping an eye on that as well. Right, Elaine?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And also,
So,
no matter what, come to our website, themiracleproject.org, and give us, just sign up, and then we'll be sending you notifications so you'll know.
there
And
you
also
go.
to sign for our new Zoom classes that's going to be open to the world. We'll go to Latvia. We're on Zoom. I think you're getting it everywhere that autism-live goes. We can now be. So.
And here's the thing. It's funny. I was doing a talk last night at Vandenberg Air Force Base for parents. And I was saying, here are my tips for this COVID emergency. My last tip was do the things right now that you can only do right now. Yeah. Don't waste your time with all the things that, like, well, I wish I could do this. Why can't I go to the beach? Well, because you can't. But there are things that you can do right now that you've never been able to do before. For, there's like, you can watch the Metropolitan Opera for free right now. Do it, because it's not going to be forever. And how many times have we done this, Elaine, where we talked to people about the benefit of the classes for the Miracle Project and said, well, it's available in a couple of places around the country. And if you're in Los Angeles, you get the benefit of doing it. But, it wasn't for everybody. And this has now forced you to be able to have it be for everyone. Take advantage, people. You have a moment right now, and I don't know, hopefully it'll last forever, because now that you guys have learned that you can do it, I hope that you will, that it will last forever, but I don't know. So take advantage. Do a class right now. Go to themiracleproject.org and find out everything that you need to do and try it. Yeah. Try it and reap the benefits. We are so out of time.
Okay, we're out of time. I just also want to thank Boona Murray, who produced both Autism, the sequel, and Autism, the musical, and all the people at HBO who believe in us and believe in changing the world to make it better for people with autism. And that's my hope and my dream. And I thank you so much. We always run out of time because I love you so much.
Love you so much. And we're going to watch tonight, and make sure that you check it out on HBO. And congratulations to you. It's a big, big day for Autism, the sequel. I sort of wish it was Autism, the musical, the sequel, but I get it's a little clunky. So Autism, the sequel, tonight on HBO. You guys, we're back tomorrow with Dr. Doreen Grampiche. On Thursday, we have autism advocate Chelsea Darnell. And on Friday, Anita Lesko is with us, as well as autism advocate Ryan Lee. So all of that this week plus more. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. And thank you, Elaine. Bye-bye, you guys.
I got ready in 9 minutes.
You do better. I don't know how to talk to you right now. I just want to say that I think you do great when you just feel like you're talking to friends and not trying to have to educate somebody.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.